My name is David Stewart.
And here's John Bootstrapper Squadron, Auburn University Det 005's National Staff presentation. We're going to be going over some very simple concepts. We don't want to bore you with too lengthy of a video, so we're just going to be going over the basics, but we highly recommend that you check out our bid packet. It's got more detailed information.
So who we are John Bootstrapper Squadron located in Auburn, Alabama, Det 005. And we have been a very active squadron within all of Auburn Air Society within the past 10 years. Recently, we hosted NATCON down in New Orleans. It was a very successful NATCON in our opinion.
Big Easy Con,
Big Easy. It was a lot of fun. Everyone had a good time. Years before that, we were the area staff. Back then, it was called the area staff. That's how long we've been going at it. And very recently, we have just reactivated the Tuskegee Squadron, or we helped reactivate it. So we kind of know the works of the entire organization.
The mission, we wanted to keep it short, sweet, and simple. We feel that a lot of people get up here and give you a big, bulky paragraph, and as soon as the presentation's over, the mission statement's out of your head. We want everyone, all Armies across the nation, to know this mission and keep it in the back of their head when they do every service project, everything that they're doing at the squadron level. So leadership through service, it's what we do as an organization at the squadron level, at the region level, and at the national level. So we wanted to keep it simple, something that we can all keep in our heads as we operate throughout this year.
And just as straightforward as our mission was, we want to keep the vision in that same aspect. So our vision is develop Arnold Air Society cadets into leaders of integrity through service, joint relations, and active participation. So there's really three parts of this vision that we really want to implement. First one being integrity through service. So Arnold Air Society is a service organization. We get great opportunities to serve our nation before we're active duty. And this is not just in military aspects, but in community service. It's a great task that a lot of people kind of push off to the side that we really want to focus on. Second thing is joint relations. Arnold Air Society is paired with Silver Wings, and through the past couple of years, it's been kind of, not that strong. We really want to bring that together, and it's kind of with our goals is to make sure that we have that great joint relations. And finally, active participation. Arnold Air Society cannot run without active participation. That's from every squadron member, from the squadron commander to just a new inductee. We really want to harp on everyone being able to do their part and no one being too small of a person.
And kind of just jumping in on that, I always like to say, acting as that squadron commander, getting people involved in service, how can we expect to serve our country in the future and commission as officers if we can't even get out there and serve our community? So we're kind of just taking these basic concepts and amplifying it and making sure that those roots of our organization are being progressed throughout this year. So going into some goals, we kind of broke it up into three categories. We've got relations and participation, service for self, and excellence is the minimum. So going into that relations and participation, we want to activate 5 Silver Wings chapters. That goes back into having that involvement from Silver Wings and making sure our joint relations are strong. Auburn University has always had really great joint relations, and we would be nowhere without our Silver Wings. They support us at every event, every FA, they're out there cheering us on, and they have become part of our DET family. And we want to amplify that across the nation. We want 100% squadron representation in NATCON. We think it's very important that the squadrons operate and are participating at the national level. We can't progress as an organization if the squadrons aren't putting in their input and helping out with those votes and those bids and those resolutions. So service before self, we want 100,000 total service hours and 50,000 joint national project hours. So we took that based off of our squadron goals. Every year our squadron tries to hit 1,000 total service hours and 500 joint national project hours. And we amplified that, made it at the national level, and that's how we got those numbers. So these are more of our general goals. We want to empower region commanders. They're kind of that backbone of our organization. And without them, they're that chain between the national staff and the squadrons. And we need to empower them and make sure that they're being held accountable and that they're holding their squadrons accountable. We want to sponsor 20 full NATCON scholarships, and that kind of goes right back into that 100% squadron representation at NATCON. We can't expect everyone to show up if we don't provide a way to do that. And then we want to increase our PDT opportunities. It was something that was kind of thrown on Air Force ROTC cadets. You need to have your PDTs accomplished and finished before you can commission. And we want to open up some opportunities across the nation so that they're more readily available for Arnold Air Cadets.
So we're going to quickly break down our budget. Now we're not going to go too in depth with it because in our actual packet on the website, we have the full fleshed out. So we're just going to highlight a couple things. So for our income, we have Auburn University is going to give us a amount sum. Now the minimum they said they would give us is $10,000, so we're keeping it there in hopes that we get more. Detention 005 pledge, that's our debt, is going to give us $5,000. John B. Stratford Squadron fundraising, so we fundraised about $1,870. We also got from our SGAO board, we got $2,200. That brings our total around $19,070. Now, thankfully, our income and expenditures equal out. So for registration, ARCON staff, so we're only going to take one staff member for every ARCON, so that's around $250 per registration, so it's $2,750. Now, a big thing that we want to focus on is travel. For all these ARCONs, flying is expensive. So we want to make sure that we would drive more than we would fly. That way we can cut down the cost of our staff traveling. So if you notice, we are flying and driving. We really want to focus more on driving, and NATCON already there, as well as exec board. A thing that we really want to harp on is awards and scholarships. We want to give out a ton of scholarships, as much as we can. So any extra money that we get is going to go towards that scholarships. And both of us are going to hold ourselves accountable to make sure we keep that as a thing. We want to make sure that we at least get 20 full NATCON scholarships to the organization. And last thing we want to point out was the emergency fund. Emergency fund is in case something really haywire goes on. So if we have to fly, we have to drive, or if something goes wrong with the uniform item, we have to make sure our staff looks fine. We have that money set aside so we're not taking away from the scholarship foundation.
I would like to point out that currently this portion right here is the most expensive that it will ever be, and we did that on purpose. We don't want to plan to fly that often. We want to logistically make it possible that we can drive to as many of these ARCONs as possible so that we can keep that cost down and put that money right back into y'all. So we're trying to keep, the expenditures that benefit us down to a minimum so we can force money right back into our organization and benefit all the Armies across the nation. So that's the backbone of our presentation and our bid. We're super excited to potentially be your national staff for 2020-21. And please check out that bid packet. It's got a lot more detailed information as far as who we are, our resumes, our endorsements, some history on the squadron. It's got all that awesome, bulky information. War Eagle.
War Eagle.